Well, good morning and welcome to Bay Sunday. I'm Roberta Gonzalez. All of us as parents hope our children take an interest in reading, but how do we get our daughters interested in reading when so many books features boys as the heroes? We want our daughters to have good role models, especially during those crucial years between the ages of 8 and 12 years old. That is the thought behind a unique library exhibit in San Francisco called Brave Little Girls. In conjunction with the exhibit, the San Francisco Public Library held a contest to choose a Brave Little Girls. The judges were looking for girls who demonstrated outstanding courage, creativity, or excellence in the community. Joining us this morning to talk about this fabulous exhibit is Kate Muller. Kate is the founder and president of the Three Guineas Fund. Also organizer of the exhibit at the San Francisco Public Library is Daphne Holmes. Welcome, ladies, and good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us at this early hour.
Thank you.
First of all, Kate, may we begin with you. You helped bring this contest to the San Francisco Public Library. Tell us about Brave Young Girls, Brave Little Girls.
Brave Little Girls is an exhibition of children's books and original illustrations from children's books, which really celebrate courage, independence, and self-confidence of girls. The books and illustrations give children an opportunity to see themselves in characters who demonstrate these qualities. And together, they show that girls can do anything.
And they certainly can. So what you decided to do is tap into Daphne Holmes' resources at the San Francisco Public Library and join forces and come out with this fabulous contest?
Yes.
Yes, we did. The contest is one of the programs around the exhibition. As Kate said, it has 58 books and 41 original illustrations. But we realized when it came to San Francisco, this is such a unique community. There's so many ways for us to connect with the various aspects of the community. So the committee members and the program committee in particular got to talking, and the communications committee, about how can we really make this personal to this area. And the idea of doing some sort of acknowledgement of brave young women within the community came up. And how do you do it? It's a library, it's about books and things. How about something about writing, that kind of thing? So an essay contest was put together. And the idea was not just to recognize the young girls who had done extraordinary things, but also to give some acknowledgement to the people who nominated them as well.
When you decided to tackle this challenge, did you find that there were limited resources out there as far as like books written with female heroines?
Actually, no, because the exhibit came from the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C. It was curated by Christina Wasserman there, who's a librarian there. So it was a set package in terms of the 58 books, the 41 illustrations. What Kate and the people that she put together on the committee and then the library staff did was to supplement that. We have an adjunct exhibit on the second floor outside the Children's Center called Girls Worth Knowing, and that's kind of newer books that have come out since that was put together, and featuring local Bay Area artists' work on that end of it. So we didn't have to really research a whole lot in that sense, because the exhibit came to us. I was going to say, that's
what got my attention, because this is an exhibit. It's a wonderful exhibit on Brave Little Girls. But I was wondering, once the exhibit leaves town in November, what are we left with? Do we have more resources? Do we have more books that little girls can look into and say, gosh, this is a role model, and I want to be like this particular person?
Well, one of the things that I think the contest does, one of the ideas behind the contest was, just as the exhibition includes books that are about pretend or fictional heroines, and then about historical figures like Harriet Tubman or Phyllis Wheatley or Helen Keller, that the idea of the contest was to find young people in the community who demonstrated these same qualities and who themselves become role models. So the young women and girls that you're going to meet not only demonstrate these qualities of personal courage, but you'll see in talking to them that each one of them is involved in some way of giving back to their community. So Gina, for example, is an advocate for gay and lesbian youth, and Venus is an advocate for homeless children. And Rosalie volunteers in a camp working with other children who have cancer. So they are role models, and they're here, and they're not going away after the exhibit goes away.
And also the library, of course, is a tremendous resource for books. The children's librarians at the main and at the other branches are always looking for and keeping their eye out and keeping up on the latest children's books and the role models that are in a lot of them. So they're terrific resources for parents and relatives of children to go to and say, I want to give this little boy or this little girl something really special, something that might inspire them over time.
Well,
There is a website too. by
And
the
there's a
way.
website that they can access.
Okay, well, if you're at home right now, well, obviously you are, because you're watching this. But go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and we'll give you that website address coming up shortly. But first of all, we are going to be meeting the 4 winners of the contest. But again, what were the rules and the criteria? I know one of the rules is basically to challenge the adult world and take risks. What else?
And to kind of take control of your life and to not be afraid of what you think and feel because there's an authority figure. It's not to be confrontational, it's simply to express your strong feelings. Also, even though the girls selected demonstrate bravery, perhaps in the way that most people think about bravery, having overcome personal challenges and issues, the other criteria also said that the girls needed to give back to the community in some way, whether they're working hands-on with other young people in the community, or they are, as Kate said, simply inspiring and role models to the people around them. That was part of the criteria. The idea that the girls had a certain level of personal integrity and kindness, because that's part of the exhibit too, to show that bravery is not just about saving people. It can be those almost incidental acts of kindness.
There are many different, kinds of courage.
Well, it's just so incredible to me because we're talking about integrity, accomplishment, courage, willingness, and at the same time, we're talking about little girls between the ages of 8 and 12 years old. And when we come back, we will meet a couple of the winners of the Brave Little Girls contest, and we will get to introduce you to them. And also, if you would like to see the exhibit dedicated to the Brave Little Girls, the exhibit is on display now through November 30th at the San Francisco Public Library. After that, the exhibit moves on to the Denver Public Library. We'll have more details when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Bay Sunday. I'm Roberta Gonzalez. Joining us now are 2 winners of the Brave Little Girls contest. We have Venus Rodriguez. She is a 17-year-old from San Francisco. Also joining us today is Rosalie Ward, birthday girl, 16 years old from Berkeley. Hi there, young ladies, and thanks for joining us this morning.
No problem.
Venus, maybe we begin with you here. First of all, to become a winner, to be chosen as a winner of the Brave Little Girls contest, you have to be nominated. You can't submit yourself as an applicant. So I think this is so fabulous. You had a friend, Chanel Hudson, who wrote an essay on your behalf, submitting you as a nominee for the Brave Little Girls contest. And she says, Venus was a homeless child living in a homeless shelter. She and her mother were homeless off and on for 4 years while Venus was placed in a foster home at the age of 12. She lived in the same foster home for 3 years while her mother completed her drug treatment. Despite living in a homeless shelter, she managed a 3.5 grade point average. You're a smart young lady.
Thank you.
You're not only street smart, but you've got it all up here, don't you? Yeah. Tell me, how was that living in a homeless shelter, and what was your inspiration to carry on, even though you didn't have a mother, a role model for yourself to carry on?
Some would say it was hard, but I felt that, in order to survive, you can't dwell on what's, going on around you. The way I did survive, though, was reading. I love to read, reading. I would go in the corner of a shelter and just read, and it would take me out of my mind into someone else's personality to where I don't have to think about what's going on with me, but just worry about what's going on in a book. And that usually gets solved anyway, so, I just had to try and put it into my own life and think about how I'm going to solve my problems.
But speaking of your own life, you've made major leaps and bounds. In 1993, you met the President of the United States, Bill Clinton. How did that come about? How did that happen?
Well, I was homeless, but people in the shelter realized that they said I was really intelligent and they needed a child to represent homelessness for America at the Children's Town Hall meeting for the president. So they sent me over to Washington, and I stayed there for 3 days, and we met in the East Room, and, we all had a conversation. It was many youth representing all types of aspects, from cancer to AIDS to dyslexia. There was people talking about dyslexia. Mine was homelessness. And it was just really interesting. The president really seemed like he cared. Each one of us asked him a question, like, what is he going to do about our particular problem? And he answered as well as he could. He said he would try and he would get back to us. after that, when I came back to San Francisco, he sent us a letter, you know, saying thank you for coming. And it felt good that he understood and took time.
It was a sense of encouragement for you, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Well, here in San Francisco, you're very involved in a number of projects. In fact, she almost missed this interview because she was with the mayor. Well, excuse me, girlfriend. What are you doing with Mayor Brown?
Well, I work for the well, it's not a job, but I'm on the San Francisco Youth Commission, and right now the San Francisco Mayor's Women's Summit is going on, and I'm the only youth participating in the steering committee, and we just had to have our first meeting about that. But along with that, I'm also working with the district attorney as a teen advocate for statutory rape and domestic violence.
You are a mover and a shaker, and we are so happy that you can fit us into your schedule. Thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
Rosalie Ward, you were nominated by your sister.
Yes.
That must be very touching. Your sister's name is?
Melissa.
Melissa says in her essay about you, she was saying that you're a remarkable performer, a classical ballerina, a modern dancer, a pianist and singer, and a great actor. Wow, you're very, very talented. But she said there was one night when you were performing on stage that you couldn't quite get through a song, so your mother took you to the doctor, to the hospital, and they diagnosed you with having cancer, a growth that was growing on your kidney.
Yes, Wilms tumor.
Now she says in her essay, this is when my sister stopped playing a brave girl and became one. What was it like? What was it like 5 years ago? And what was it like to be diagnosed with cancer?
It was shocking. I was in Les Miserables at the time and playing Little Cosette, and as they said, I was having trouble singing my song, There's a Castle on a Cloud, and I had a big lump here, and it was hard to breathe because the cancer had spread to my lungs from my kidney. So we went to the hospital and went through several tests, and they told me I had cancer, and it was scary.
Well, since then you've had surgeries,
Yes.
you've had chemotherapy, you've been bald, and you have beautiful hair now.
Oh, thank you.
And how are you feeling today?
Great, great.
Prognosis is good,
Yes, I'm doing very well.
and you're doing so well that you feel like you must give back to the community. Tell me about your involvement.
Well, since then I've participated in several fundraisers for cancer awareness. Actually, I was in the Children's Miracle Network telethon here on Channel 5 for 2 years, and I got to meet Steve Young.
Wow, you go, girl.
Talk about my experience. And I was in Napa, Queen of the Valley Hospital. They held a couple fashion shows where all the models were cancer survivors.
What does it mean to you by being nominated and being a winner of the Brave Little Girls contest?
Well, I'm honored, but among the other girls, I mean, I look at them and go, wow, and I wonder how brave I really am when I hear their stories. But it's good because I want to spread awareness, you know, about cancer, children's cancer.
Venus, you had a comment like that, very similar also, saying, boy, you have a story to tell, but there's so many other girls out there that have stories to tell too. You are only getting the opportunity to do so.
I mean, I feel, like I said, I mean, to quote what I said, you know, when I won the contest, that I don't feel like a brave little girl. I feel like an independent young lady. And that's what it's about. You know, there are so many stories. Mine's is minor compared to things some of these girls have to do, take care of their whole families, you know, go out and get a job, can't go to school, don't have a social life. And I have been blessed to be able to do that and more.
The two of you have so much courage, and you're so very brave, and you're so smart. You two are my role models. But you know what? We even have more winners of the Brave Little Girls contest, and you'll get the opportunity to meet those fine young ladies when we come back. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Bay Sunday. I'm Roberta Gonzalez. Joining us now are two more winners of the Brave Little Girls contest. We have Gina DeVries, she's 14, from San Francisco. Also Talia Galepter and her mother, Robin Keller. They're both joining us this morning. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Gina, maybe we can start with you. We're still on the subject of Brave Little Girls, the contest. It was an essay. You were nominated by one of your friends,
Right.
Meredith Osborne.
Yes.
Do you want me to just...
Oh, sure, go ahead. Now, Meredith nominated you because she said that you are one brave and courageous young lady. And you know what? I have to agree with her. Do you know why she says you're so brave?
Oh, wow. I honestly think that she's a really brave young woman herself. I think that all young women are brave.
But you did something extraordinary. Meredith says that she was in a biology class with you.
She was actually my teacher for biology class.
Okay. And she says a couple of summers ago that you came out and you talked with your family and your friends, your very close friends, and explained to them that you are a lesbian. And another year went by and you came out at your school and made an announcement. But it's not just any school. It's a Catholic school. You know what I'm saying? I'm Catholic. I can tell you, as being a Catholic, one of our fundamentals is being very true to yourself. And that's what you're doing, but it's still a hard thing to do. Come on out and admit that you're a lesbian in a Catholic school. It is.
It was difficult. I think that part of what kept me going was the fact that I have an incredibly supportive family and very supportive friends. I had very supportive friends outside of school. But the real foundation that helped me was my family. A lot of other lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender youth don't have the supportive parents or family members that I've got. And it's really sad, but when you have that system of support, it can make things just so much easier for you.
Family is such a foundation, isn't it? Did you have the support of your church?
I'm actually not religious, and neither are my parents.
But you're attending a Catholic school.
Yes.
Okay,
I was attending a Catholic school. Right now I'm in high school at the urban school. I was at the Catholic school for 5 years, from the 3rd grade to the 8th grade. I just basically wanted to stay it out. I had teacher support for a long time, and that was important. After a while, that support died down, and that was disappointing, but my parents were always there to support me. And
well, it sounds like while you're not extremely religious, you are extremely faithful.
yes.
Yeah, and spiritual. I think you have to be to go through what you have. What has it been like since you've been able to be honest with yourself and your friends and your community?
I really feel like I've blossomed. I feel like since I've been able to be who I am, I've gained a lot more confidence, and therefore I've been able to go out and do a lot of incredible things. I think that everybody has the potential to do that once we're fully ourselves and once we're fully confident and honest with people.
Well, it says that you're the youngest member in history to belong to the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual
and
committee.
Transgender Advisory Committee to the Human Rights Commission.
What do you do as part of that committee?
Wow. The basic idea of having the committee is just to have a voice for queer people in the city, for the Human Rights Commission and for San Francisco. Right now what I'm doing with them is the LGBTAC is a subcommittee of the Human Rights Commission, and I'm working with the LGBTAC on one of their subcommittees, the Youth Task Force. And right now what the Youth Task Force is doing is, we're trying to set up support groups for queer youth whose parents aren't accepting or who are having a hard time coming out to their parents and to their families because of unaccepting attitudes. So I'm working pretty hard on trying to put those support groups together, and hopefully they'll pull through.
Wow, that sounds like such an accomplishment. And you're enjoying it.
Oh, yes.
And you're learning a lot, I imagine. Yes? Well, what does Brave Little Girls mean to you, winning that? Or being one of the winners, I should say.
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself for doing it, but I also feel like there's a great amount of potential in every girl to be able to do this. I think that every girl is important, and that once we're all able to find that confidence within ourselves and really know what we want to do, then we can accomplish anything.
Well said. Bravo. Which leads us to our next guest, and we have Talia here. And Talia, I want to read a little bit from the person who submitted an essay nominating you for Brave Little Girl, because it was one of your little friends who wrote such a beautiful essay about you. Boy, I was really taken back by this. It's titled, "She Was Small and Brave. Now She is Tall and Brave. A Tale of Talia." It talks about how both of you were born small as premature babies. She weighed over 2 pounds. Well, that's being you. You weighed over 2 pounds, and that she weighed 4 pounds, and that your mothers met a few times when they were pregnant. They met at Children's Hospital in Oakland. And it says that that happened like 10 years ago, and over the years you have had a friendship that has blossomed. But what I just loved is the way she ended her essay. It says, "Talia may not walk, but she is always standing tall." You have a really great friend, don't you? What is her name?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. Do you guys like hang out together? Do you go to birthday parties together? What do you like to do with Jacqueline?
Swim together.
You swim? Oh, that is so great. What's your favorite kind of swimming? Do you like doing the dog paddle or the breaststroke?
Breaststroke.
Really? I bet you're a great swimmer, huh? Do you play together also? Do you do other things? Do you have Barbies? You have all kinds of dolls, I bet, huh? Well, Mom, Robin Keller, you must be so proud of Talia and her friend Jacqueline, who wrote this essay. What does it mean to you to have your daughter as a brave little girl? You've probably always known she's a brave little girl.
Well, she has been a brave little girl. It's very true, and I am proud of both of the girls, her friend as well, for having the courage to nominate her as well. Yeah, since Talia was born, she had to be brave because she was actually only 1 pound 9 ounces and was in the hospital as a preemie for a very long time and had to fight for her life. And she's always decided that she wanted to live, had a great will to live and a great spirit and a great smile. And
so what does this award mean to you, Mom?
I think it's just some recognition from more than just her family and small community. It's recognition beyond that people can fight the odds.
Okay, and if you want to know more about this exhibit, it's at the San Francisco Public Library right now all the way through November. We want to thank you for joining us today on Bay Sunday, and we'll see you again next week.